Hello, my marvellous sausages. Now, I've been reading a few articles here, and I don't know if I'm kind of prepared for what's coming, really, and I don't know if you are either, because power is completely changing in Destiny 2, and you might be not ready for how much it's changing. So I'm going to go over exactly what to expect from these changes in terms that I can understand, and hopefully you'll be able to understand them too, because going through all of the information can be a little bit mind-bending. So the old system was a combination of getting to a soft cap, and then a hard cap, and then a pinnacle cap, and then the artifact, as you upgraded it and poured all your hard-earned XP into it, added power on top of it. Okay, so you had your artifact power stuffed on top of your normal power. Well, all that's being completely destroyed. A massive number is now all dropping to 10. Everybody's going to be starting from 10, a level playing field. I think this is a good thing, to be perfectly honest, because the numbers are pumping up to sort of ridiculous proportions. However, just bear in mind, when you see that little number 10 there, you should still be able to hover over it and see what your old power level system number was. I suppose that's to help folks realise that they're not being robbed, it's just a starting point number. Totally arbitrary, really. I think they should have actually picked 69 instead of 10. What do you reckon? Yeah, definitely, it should have been 69, you know, because I'm really childish. So then, how is all this new power boosting going to work? Well, first of all, the terms like soft cap, hard cap, pinnacle pack cap, I can't say that, and baseball cap, great gag, they're all gone. So now we've got our level from 10 to 200, and you up that number by playing, basically, just playing the game, really. And the more you play, the more, of course, you're going to increase your power level by acquiring new gear with a higher power level. But it's worth pointing out, though, that playing the activities through the portal, so that's the new fangled interface, will give you more progression than just playing the ones from the director, it would seem. But they've said that the fastest progression for getting power up and getting the power levels to drop on your weapons will come from completing missions, so I'm assuming what they mean by that are Edge of Fate missions, the newer missions, and also finding secret chests as well around Kepler. So it looks like exploration is going to be rewarded with like bigger power increases as well. So when you're finding secret chests, it's going to be worth doing it rather than just a random drop. It's also going to increase your power too. I quite like that. They're leaning into the secrets aspect of it, which is one of my favourite parts of the game, so huzzah for that. Also, a lot of the new activities, including all of the Edge of Fate stuff, will get you up to the 200, but then you can modify those activities so that you can make them harder, and then you will drop rewards in excess of the 200. So I'm assuming that the level they drop at will use your current level as a base. Mind you, what do I know? Now, you may also have heard that the weapons and armor are now coming in tiers, and this replaces the old system, including the Adept system, so no more Adepts. Now, Tier 1 will kind of be the equivalent to your bog-standard Tesco-valued sawdust sausages, and your Tier 5 will be a packet of juicy Waitrose sausages. I don't know why I'm saying this. I read the other day that they're the best supermarket sausages here in the UK. I don't know if that's true, of course, because I can't afford them. Hey, if you become a channel member, I may be able to buy a pack in a year or two when I've saved up enough and make an entire channel devoted to sausages. Sorry, it's just an idea. Anyway, back to the teardrops. When you're... I'm crying. When you're on the power climb from 10 to 200, the only teardrops you're going to get are Tier 1 to Tier 3. And the Tier 3 ones, they're kind of equating to like a good drop or an adept drop, okay? They do use the word occasional, though, when they're describing the Tier 3 drops, so I think maybe they're not going to be dropping as much as perhaps we're imagining it. I think this grind is going to be a little bit slower than we're all anticipating. Now, once we hit that 200, your next grind sees us trying to hit the next cap, which is 400, okay? Now, this comes from playing the high-level portal activities and adding in all those extra modifiers you might see them all talking about. So the more gear you earn at the higher level, the more it will push you closer to that 400 level. Plus, of course, as well, you get the chance to earn higher tier rewards here to maybe Tier 4. I don't know. I'm going to say occasional Tier 5, but I don't know if you're going to get Tier 5 up to the 400 level. You might get the occasional one, but I can't see anything outlining that. If anybody's heard anything about that, let us know in the comments if you can earn Tier 5 up to 400 level. But you see, the reason why I say that is because that's not all. You can then push on to level 450, an extra 50 points. Now, to get to this level, they've got a newly upgraded Prime engram, you know, our lovely Prime engrams, and this will drop with power and higher tier loot than the regular rewards. So what I mean is that we can cash these in, probably with Rahul, rather than getting as a direct drop at the end of the activity. Now, there's no limit to how many of these you can earn in a week. The weekly thing seems to be completely have gone. So the final crawl to 450 will basically be decoding engrams. I hope that means that Rahul's going to become important again, but who knows, they might have another vendor just for this kind of stuff. But I doubt it. Lovely Rahul is going to be back, yes. Because, of course, I don't know if you realised, but all of the levelling systems are all completely going from the tower vendors. Rahul's levelling system is all going to completely go. I did say in a previous preparation video that you should collect exotic engrams. Don't bother doing that now. You don't need them because you can't get the new exotic armour from upgrading Rahul. They're only going to drop from legendary campaign missions from what we understand. But we're not finished, because we know there's a big free update coming in the form of Ash and Iron, and I think that's around September time. Now, this is going to see the return of the Plague Lands. Nice, by the way, I'm looking forward to that. But then there's going to be a further increase to our power level. Firstly, the portal activities will now be able to get you up to 500. So if you're at the 450 or whatever, you're now going to push towards the 500. And then the new power engrams will finally get us to the tippy top, dizzying heights of 550. Now, I was wondering, though, how that's going to work. If someone, let's say, for example, doesn't get to the 400 in the first part of the season, and then they start playing all the portal stuff in the Ash and Iron update, will the gear start dropping much higher for them? Or will it be tied and scaled to current level? It's probably going to be scaled, isn't it? You're not going to get a sudden boost. So basically, I think the grind is going to be of a similar length. And what's also worth pointing out is that they've said that those of us who reach the 500 power level, we're going to be rewarded with regular drops of tier 5 gear. This tier 5 stuff is now what the game's all about. This is the chase. If you're after good weapons, tier 5 is God. It's got its own drip, it's got the highest stats, and they're a veritable perk jamboree as well. So it's going to be God rolls a go-go with those. Tier 5 is what we're all going to be after. So aiming to get to level 500 will give us the best chance of getting as many tier 5s as we can. So what all this boils down to is that the gear chase is very much back on, as our power is tied to the gear we earn instead of a power boost coming from the artifact. So that's good. I like this. It means that XP, though, doesn't play a part in power leveling anymore, because that was kind of fueled by the artifact. You dump your XP into the artifact, you put in a certain amount, and they would knock your power level up a point. And so bounty farming and all that kind of stuff, and maybe even, what was it, the seasonal challenges, the weekly seasonal challenges that we get, they all helped. They were all XP based. It's completely changing now. It's going over to an activity based thing, because all of our power is now tied to our weapons and armor. Bloody hell, the XP chase, that's another video in its entirety. Considering as well, XP is what's going to be used for the season pass, I assume. So yes, it's splitting the two systems up, which I actually quite like, really. So this is going to totally change our weekly play-in sessions, isn't it, really? Because we used to have our power increases restricted to, like, bursts. With the pinnacle drops, you know, you could only have a certain amount of a power gain because you only had a certain amount of pinnacles that you could do. And then once you'd finish your pinnacles, you had to wait till the next week and then start on the power climb again. But these are all completely disappearing now. No more pinnacle rewards. So there's now no limit on how fast you can increase your power level. But I do think that with this new system and playing the harder difficulties to get you up beyond the 200 cap, it'll take a lot longer to get up to that very distant 550 level. In fact, I don't even know if I'm actually going to be able to do that, but that's okay. As long as I've got a few tier 5 drops, I reckon I'll be pretty happy. But yeah, what do you think about this fundamental change to the game? Personally, I'm glad. Now, with getting the new weapons, you're going to have some weapons that you like and some weapons that you think are complete poop. So you're going to be able to infuse. Again, infusion isn't going anywhere. You're going to keep the weapon that you like and then infuse it up using, you know, a crappier weapon. I reckon as well, we're all going to completely forget our old weapons within a couple of weeks because we're all going to be enamored with the new shiny things. Well, anyway, to infuse anything above the 200 level, so yeah, we got our 10 to 200 level, that's your standard power cap, you're going to need a new currency, which is called unstable cores. Not enhancement cores, unstable cores. Now, these drop from activities, but you also get them from dismantling armor and weapons that's got the seasonal power bonus on it. So anything over 200, really. Dismantling one of them, I assume it's not a 100% chance, but there's a chance of getting one of them to drop. You've got to bear in mind as well, you know, the upgrade modules that we got from Banshee, they're being completely binned. So all we're going to be using for infusion are enhancement cores, so those stuff from 10 to 200, and then unstable cores from anything 200 and above. I just checked as well, and now it says the account-wide power progression, so you're not going to have to do each individual character. So once your weapons and armor start dropping at a certain level, it's going to start dropping at that level across the board, and you can infuse them up and all that. So that's staying. And also the fire team power as well, which was introduced in the final shape. What that is, of course, is that if you've got somebody who is at a higher power level than you on your fire team, because sometimes power level restricts what activities you can do. So if you go with somebody who's at the power level for a particular activity and you're not, it shouldn't matter if in the fire team you'll go into that activity and you'll be brought up to 5 points just below the highest team member. So that's what the fire team power is. That's staying as well. I've always felt a bit weird about that, though, because it kind of defangs the power grind a little bit, doesn't it? So you don't think, oh, I'm not going to push myself to get there because I can do that. But then again, loads of people were saying, I really remember this, actually. I don't know if it was Witch Queen. I can't remember where it came in. People saying, oh, my God, I've got to grind all of this before I can play that activity, you know? Because they're restricted by power level, so you couldn't play everything on day one. So that was their solution to that problem. So then, what do you reckon? That's going to be what the new thrust of our game is. And I think, personally, I like it. The game needs a shake-up. I think it's going to cheese a lot of people off, but I think a lot of people, from the last couple of videos I've been doing, are falling off the conveyor belt anyway. But I think this is going to be a sufficient enough refresh, and I think it's a nice simplification for newer players coming in, which is really, really important for the longevity of the game. Otherwise, it's going to die. Yes, and a lot of people say it's dead already. I don't think so. But yes, they need to start doing this, and I think this is a step in the right direction. So you don't have soft caps, hard caps, pinnacle caps. You can only do a few of these this week. Oh, God, it was annoying. In fact, I was so unarsed with all of it that I didn't even bother looking at my power level. Recently. I don't think I bothered at all. I just couldn't be... I only just got to level 2020, which is the power cap level for where we are now, for Heresy. I couldn't give a toss. I could not give a toss. But this actually makes it different because you're hunting weapons, and the weapons have the power on them. So the more powerful gear you have, the more powerful it makes you. I like that. I think that is a much better system than what we've got now. It's far more straightforward. I haven't got a clue what it's going to be like to play, mind in saying that. We'll find out in a week's time, won't we? What do you think, though? Do you reckon it's going to be better? I don't know. I'd love to hear what you all think. You're totally marvellous. Thank you so much as well for all the comments you've been putting on my other kinds of videos that I've been putting out. I'll be putting more of those. I really enjoy them. But I like these conversational kind of ones. They work really well. So let me know in the comments below if we get enough comments or I see a thread popping up or something that's like a glaring inconsistency that Bungie might not have considered. I'll make a video about that and your comments as well. I'm really realizing, right, that the community that we've got here on my channel is the lifeblood of it. I've always loved and chatted to you guys, but what I've been doing recently is using your comments and using your thoughts, you know, to create videos. And when they're nice, decent comments, respectful comments, I will of course use them. If there's some comedy ones as well, it's absolutely fine. Well, anyway, folks, I'd love to know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall speak to you all again very soon. A sausage heard.